Introducing a short film on the Uchronics of the relationship between nature and humans. There's a great theory called the burnt toast theory that suggests that something seemingly small and something seemingly negative can lead to positive outcomes. Say, for example, you burn your toast in the morning. That burnt toast may have just been a chain of delays that prevented you from being at the wrong place at the wrong time later on in that day. In the context of the burnt toast theory, we can take a step back and reimagine some of the historical events that happened and occurred that, if tweaked in the slightest way, could have greatly impacted the society and reality we live in today. For example, our current society runs greatly on the entertainment industry. What once used to be physical museums and exhibits are now being slowly replaced with our phones, scrolling, Netflix, and social media. But when we take a look back at the historical popularities, we can observe that the cabinets of curiosity during the 16th century played a big role in the rising of public entertainment. But what if all the discoveries of nature, including animals and plants displayed in the cabinets of curiosity, had names themselves engraved in them, in ways such that humans give ourselves names? The relationship between humans and plants most definitely would have evolved differently, possibly changing and shifting and rocking our Westernized hierarchical view towards the human species and nature. But think about it. Why do we give nature, including animals and plants, pronouns? I think we give plants pronouns as a way of personifying things that we can't fully understand and communicate with. But as Andrea Nightingale points out in her analysis of environment and gender, specifically with the history of environment and gender in the 1970s, with feminist critiques of Enlightenment thinking, feminists argue that the oppression of women is linked to overexploitation of environment, and as such is inherently a political question, which diverges into two related but somewhat separate thoughts. First, ecofeminists argue that women have innate privileged knowledge of environments, which inspires them to protect it. Second, scholars probed how the social construction of women and nature facilitates certain kinds of oppression of women and overexploitation of the environment. In other words, the link between environment and gender is not fixed, but rather a constructed and contested relation, which is derived solely based on our understanding of what we deem true. In other words, environment is not taken for granted. Entity, like gender, is a socially constructed domain that is dynamic biophysically and also in terms of what we imagine it to be. As Descartes says, we can't fully trust knowledge derived from our senses. In other words, we have this mind-body dualism that justifies our dominion over what we consider non-human as a means to project our own innate desires for power and control over the unknown and uncertainty. But what if the names were actually engraved in the plants themselves? Maybe our fear of the uncertainty and unknown when it comes to viewing plants as a being itself would subside. Maybe our current contemporary view of nature being a mechanistic object for the use of human benefit, maybe that would change. Maybe there would be no hierarchy between the relationship between nature and humans. When we actually take a look and a step back in terms of how we view science now, with this idea that we have a hypothesis and thus a conclusion, an objective conclusion, maybe that view towards science wouldn't be so popular today, and maybe our openness to the unknown and uncertainty would be more embraced. One small shift in the small things that are overlooked might just be the chain reaction that completely rocks our contemporary worldview towards a one-sided power dynamic between nature and humans, in which nature is viewed as an animate being with its own form of communication.